Hey everyone, welcome to the Collector Chatter podcast. I'm your host Miguel here with my co-host Charlie. And in today's segment, we are going to talk about the rumors, some Funko rumors that got us super excited. And there is a ton of awesome stuff that we cannot wait to see come out.
Yeah, and everyone make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and let's chat these rumors.
All right, everyone, let's chat about these rumors. So we are going to talk about, of course, we've talked about this in the past. We like to bring up these rumors that, we follow certain pages online that bring up glam shots or lists or whatever of certain things that are going to be coming out. They seem to have kind of died down for a little while, and now they're picking back up again. And we got a jam-packed list of stuff here that we want to just kind of run through quickly, just to kind of give you our thoughts, some stuff that got us most excited for, and then we'll let you know kind of like what we're most excited for specifically on out of these, and you guys can let us know as well. But right off the bat, I'm going to have to start with this because I talked about this in the past, and this specific person and wanting his pops more than anything. But there is a rumor that we will be getting a Michael Jackson pop. We know that the OG ones exist. We know that they were pulled off because of the estate from Michael Jackson. And now it seems like that's been cleared up because we've gotten a couple rumors. We got one a while ago about an album that was supposedly going to be coming out, which I always said that would be the one pop album I wanted the most, would be like the Thriller album. But now we're getting some rumors that there's actually a pop going to be coming out. I do think it's a little weird though. Yeah, so it's Billie Jean. So a Billie Jean one does exist already. So that's the only thing that's like a little confusing. I kind of wish they would just do like a different version of Michael Jackson and not like try to just redo like one of these OG
I feel like they're going to pretend like the OGs didn't like exist and remake it.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe that's a thing. Maybe just like, and does that mean they're going to just redo all of them, which is kind of interesting because I wonder what that's going to do to the value of those old ones, because like it can go up or down. Like I guess it just kind of depends. Market could be, really depending on how you see it. But I'm just excited that I'll be able to potentially at least get one now, because I know the other ones are almost untouchable to me, but they're like my untouchable grails, basically. Like I wish I could get. But I think it's very exciting that at least this is a rumor that we're getting, and it's something that like I really definitely want for sure.
Yeah, I want that too, and I'm totally excited that they're coming back. And like as you said, the originals, they're like untouchable grails. Not only that, it's like you may get it and it could be fake. Like I get like, not that I'm ever thrown down what it would cost to get me the OG Michael Jacksons. I wish, but they could be fake. Like some of the fake ones, I feel like for the Michael Jackson pops, like look spot on. But I've even debated sometimes, like, you know what? I'll just get them to like throw in my collection.
Yeah, I've saw them for like
they're cool.
The whole pack of all of them for like $60 or whatever, and you get all of them. I was like, God, should I do it? I know. But it's like a generic glam shot, so like you don't even know what the box or what it's gonna look like. It could look so bad. So I'm like, I don't even want to bother doing that. But yeah, that's definitely something that if once we get a little bit more news, and if we get like official pictures and we see what it's gonna look like, I think that'll be something that's gonna be like for sure on my list of pops that I need.
Another
what's a big one for you?
Big one for me is easily the Avengers Endgame movie poster, which like, to me, like that could be one of like, if you have to make your collection small, movie posters for me, like that's one to get. That movie poster is awesome. It's fire. It has all the Avengers on it, and it's supposedly gonna, like, for all of you like that don't remember, like Captain America is like straight in the middle, kind of like looking up, and like that's what the pop's supposedly gonna be with him not wearing his mask. That's like I love that movie poster. So to me, this is like, I think it's the best Marvel one that they could start out with to make.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's like we talked about the movie poster line, and like just Jurassic Park was one of the first ones we saw, and we're like, all right, that's cool. It's a big franchise, it's the first one, so it makes sense. But it was interesting to see like what'll be next, like where do they go with this line, because we know that this is going to be these enormously oversized box like looking pops, and in order to do that, you have to do some epic movies or super epic looking poster. And this kind of hits both of those. Obviously, it's a huge epic movie, which is enormous in comic world and obviously Marvel fans. but the poster itself, like you said, there's just so many characters on it, and it kind of now seems like they are gonna go with like a main character, or one, maybe two, but they're not gonna just do everyone that's on there. But yeah, he's the one that really is like the main one in the actual poster. I don't know if I would say like he. I guess he technically would be the most main between
When I
him
heard
and
it, part of me
Iron
was like, I
Man,
wish it was
but
Iron Man. Yeah,
yeah,
but
it'd be
like
between the two of them. But
the
the
reason why
poster
I'm
features
yeah,
more him.
the reason I'm cool with it with the poster is because like as much as I thought the Jurassic Park one was cool and I love that's one of my favorite franchises of all time, we talked about it. Like they kind of just picked a pop to put in it. Like they didn't make it the T-Rex like in his fossil form, where I feel like this is gonna
Yeah, that's
blend
they should have
really
done.
well into the poster. It's like he is front and center of it, and like you have the pop and then all of the other characters around it. I think it's just gonna look like that much more epic. Like to me, this should have been like maybe this will be the first one that ultimately does come out, even though
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
the
because
other
they
one
do
was
do that
official.
sometimes.
But like this one, just like I feel like if you saw this, like you'd have to get it, where you don't have to get the Jurassic Park one, even if you're fans of both the movies. I don't know if you
Yeah,
agree.
I agree with that, and it reminds me a lot of like why I think so many pop albums hit so well was because that pop fit right into the background of the actual
Yep,
cover so well, and those are the ones that are my favorites of the albums, are the ones that were able to do that. I think this makes it just as cool being like and I think like the size thing like makes more sense with something like this because there's so many characters and it's so big and
exactly.
grand that like you're not just getting like with the Jurassic Park, for instance, a mostly black background with a small picture, like so I agree that that's definitely one that was also on my list as far as like, whoa, these are super cool and I'm very excited. Another one is, and this was a rumor we kind of heard about this potentially in the past, and now we're getting it back again. And again, we're waiting for this whole big second wave of Spider-Man No Way Home pops, and we haven't really been getting too many of them. But now the rumor is that we are going to get a movie moment, which will be all three Spider-Man on the Liberty, Statue of Liberty scene when they all kind of come up and jump together, and this is like an epic,
It's awesome.
shot of the three of them just kind of like down like on their Spidey, poses. Which when we saw the movie and we saw everything, like we kind of like right away we're like, there's gotta be a 3-pack. There's gotta be something that has these guys in it, right? I'm assuming they're probably gonna have another like version of just an actual 3-pack
That's
because
what I
this
was
one's
just about to
considered
say.
like a movie moment. But I mean, if you ever want to get like in the definition of like what's a perfect quote unquote movie moment in a Funko
This
version,
is it.
like this is it. Yeah. Like this was an enormous moment in the movie. This was an amazing scene. This was just like so epic. So it's like perfect to take that and not just because some of their movie moments don't hit. Sometimes they're just kind of like, was that in the movie? Or like, like you almost have to
Yep.
question like, what is this actually doing? Where some of them are pretty good, but I think this one would be, I mean, it's gonna be super cool. I mean, I can't wait to see it because we're still waiting on like a new wave, which I was hoping to get because then we would get like more, some Tobey Maguire pops, which we obviously don't have, another Andrew
I want
Garfield
the
pop, like things
villains
like
too.
that,
Like,
or even like the new version villains, like the way they came out. Yeah, and they have to exist or they have to be. And I understood the whole waiting for the, but like I mean, this movie's out on DVD and Blu-ray already.
yeah,
Like it's not
it's
like
yeah.
there's no spoilerness involved
And they've
anymore. Like
been
this, they've
promoting
been
it.
the posters, the new
Yeah.
posters now have all of them. The
Yeah.
cover of the DVD itself has all three Spider-Man. So like it's obviously like a thing, but like what's going on with some of these pops? Like Funko's usually huge and very quick on Marvel. This I feel like is something
I
is holding it
wonder,
back.
do you think maybe they'll be like San Diego Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con, and like that's where you will get like the villains and like that's why they
It
haven't come
could
out.
be. That would be awesome.
I'm wondering
But
if
do I
that's just
think they're
gonna
gonna do
happen.
that? I don't know.
I know, but it's just kind of like why don't haven't we seen official images of these yet? But we have Moon Knight ones, for example. Like it's interesting to me. Like
Yeah,
there's
I
no,
think it's
like you
totally
said, there's
weird
no
that there's
secret
nothing yet.
anymore. It's not a secret. Like I'm sorry, like not to spoil anyone if you haven't seen this movie. I'm assuming if you listen to our podcast, you probably have seen Spider-Man, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But it's
Hopefully.
just yeah, because that line needs to be, as a huge Spider-Man fan, the OG No Way Home, like wave one, is like it's okay. Like
Yeah. And it's not
yeah,
the best. Yeah, they
it's
were
not.
very and we knew it. They kind of released that before the movie-ish. Like they didn't want to spoil too much, so they were very like plain and
Some of the
bland
pops
with
are
like
actually
what it
not
was.
accurate to the movie.
Yeah, I know you talked about that one too. Like that
Integrated
one
suit,
that
like yeah,
actually, yeah, which is a 10-inch too. They made
they
like
made it
that.
a 10-inch too. Like they
Yeah,
changed the design of that a little bit, but so
yeah,
it shows how far in advance they probably were getting those made. But that also makes you feel like these other ones should have been made then. But
yeah.
I mean, yeah, we can move
Yeah,
on
I
from this.
totally
I'm very
agree. I like I
passionate
said, this was
about it.
something that I was excited about just because of like the moment. But like now I'm like, all right, let's like these should be out. Like we should be getting the official drop of these. But yeah,
Did you
that
see
that's something that definitely was cool.
another one was the Stranger Things 8-bit 4-pack, which to me is super random. Like they already exist in like single, um, like
8
just
bit?
normal pops, right? Yeah, I think they do. Stranger
I don't
Things.
know. They may. I don't know. I'm not a huge 8-bit fan, even though like I think I have one or two. Like I have the
They
Raiden
don't.
one in here for Mortal Kombat, but I got that in like a GameStop, that mystery box thing or
That one's
whatever.
actually pretty sweet though.
Yeah.
Like a
But I
lot of
won't
them
like
don't
go and buy them.
yeah, they don't translate. At least like that's a at least Mortal Kombat's a video game. Like
Yeah,
I
a
don't
video
know.
game makes sense. 8-bit, exactly.
It's just like, why are we? Yeah, I mean, maybe they're going because obviously, I feel like Stranger Things is such an easy like it's an '80s like throwback show, so like they
Yeah,
really try to like,
arcade. Let's do
yeah.
like yeah, like
I just thought that's like a random one. Maybe there'll be new molds from like the new season, but I just that I thought it's just an interesting rumor.
yeah. Another rumor that I thought was kind of crazy was like, and maybe it's because we're finally gonna get a sequel to this movie, but is some Avatar pops. And
I'm actually excited for
do
these.
do do they exist or no?
No,
They don't, right?
I've never I've like said this before, like in passing with some of my friends, like, how do they not make Avatar pops? Like, I don't get it. Like, to me, like, I can envision them making them back in the day, and like you get like there could have been maybe two of them, they'd be like super grails at this point.
Oh yeah,
So and
definitely
now
would have
that
been.
Disney owns Avatar, this line will probably be huge. Um, but
Yeah,
I'm excited for these actually. I'm excited for that movie. I know it's been forever, and I know there's like haters of it, and some people are like, this movie, no one cares about Avatar. Like James Cameron, whether you like him or you don't, I happen to be a fan. Like the guy, whatever he does is gold. And this movie is gonna, when the first Avatar came out, like he created like 3D in like a movie theater and like the scale and scope, like he's gonna do that for this movie. It's
yeah,
gonna be, I think it will be huge again. And I'm pumped they're making pops for this.
yeah. I'm definitely excited for it. I think like the movie itself, like I was already kind of excited for it. I do really like the first one. I think it's been such a long time, so it's gonna be interesting to like kind of get that hype back up. But at the same time, I think it's almost kind of like a FOMO thing where you're like, if you were a fan of the first one, like you're totally going to be willing. And I
Yeah,
believe there's going to be three, right? Doesn't he have like the
they
plan to
made
make
3.
all
They
of them
already were
already? Yeah.
made. They filmed them.
So that'll be exciting. I mean, Avatar ride at Disney was one of my favorite rides. So like
It's
that
awesome.
Avatar whole thing, I think is going to be so cool. So yes, completely shocked that they don't already have these. And that's why I remember seeing them and I'm like, why is this coming out? And it's because one, they don't have them. And then two, like you said, yeah, Disney's involved now. And then also I think with this new movie, coming out, whenever it does come out, it kind of just lends to the fact that now we're gonna get these finally. But yeah, these should have been totally done. Like I feel like it's like, and what's funny is like when I think about pops and people always ask you a question like, what pops do you wish made, or what are you surprised that weren't made? I'm surprised I never thought of Avatar.
Yeah,
Like, cause like, especially like I feel like it would lend perfect
it'll
to
look
a
great.
final figure. The colors will look awesome. And it was such an epic like movie
Yeah,
that's like, duh, these should be Funko Pops. So at least now we're hopefully gonna get some, which I think will be look pretty cool. Then it seems like it's a pretty decent line. There'll be a few of those at least rumored right away.
yeah.
Um, for those. So pretty cool.
We got a ton of new friends rumor pops. Basically seems like a bunch of all the major characters. Just another, look from an
Yeah.
episode. But then they're also making the mini moments for friends, which I'm
Yeah.
curious if like this I never know
There's
Funko.
no way
Like,
those
this,
other ones sold, man.
that's
There's
what I
no
was about
way
to
the
say.
Office and the Seinfeld
Yeah,
ones have sold. There's
I
no way.
got one WandaVision one, the black and white one, just because like I thought it was cool. I
But see,
don't
that
need.
was more unique.
Yeah, it fit it.
Like,
Where like this,
yeah.
like I've seen, like I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. I've seen the chase actually in my Target for this, and I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
get it.
I know.
Like
Same.
there's just they don't. Yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting.
Like,
Like
I
they
understand what they like thought, specifically with not even like the Harry Potter or the or even the Wanda. I think when they did the Seinfeld one and the not even the Office,
Office
maybe just the Seinfeld one. I feel like the Seinfeld one made the most
because
sense
it's
because
making the
that
apartment.
exactly that apartment was essentially 90% of the show, right? Like you knew the rooms, you knew like the places and stuff. So like that was cool. I just think like it was like almost like their version of Lego and like it's very small and like so like
I never
that I
thought
just
of
think
it
is
that
what
way.
made it
Yeah.
it kind of made it weird. Like I guess if you're a Lego fan, maybe you would like these, but I don't think if you're like a Funko Pop fan, it really translated well to like those people, in my opinion.
No, I agree. It's
And
a weird look.
even just being a fan of the show, but like now, okay, Friends,
It'll be the
it makes
apartment probably.
sense. Yeah, it makes sense. Apartment, whatever. But I don't know. And it's also it's one of those pops that like the box is bigger than it should be. Like it's like one of those weird ones that we dealt like somebody's awake.
It's all good. Yeah, it's totally. You bring that's a great point of why I get really frustrated with this line, and I hope Funko. It seems like Funko has changed a little bit with certain pops, but like the box is just way too big. There's just no need for it. Like
Yeah, so
that's
I
like
don't know. I
too. You
don't
got to
like it.
take it out of the box if you get it. In my opinion, like I know, even if you're a hardcore inbox collector, like these got to be taken out of the box. It defeats the purpose
Yeah.
of them. Like there's
You can't
even
even barely even tell what the details or what's going on if they are in the box.
I
It
even
just looks
like
weird.
thinking about like not to go back to the Spider-Man one, like that, like you're gonna have to take that out of the box. Like it's just like keeping it in the box is just not gonna do its justice. And if you really care about keeping it in the box, you got to get two, in my opinion. But
Yeah, yeah, just that one.
yeah,
Then we had a big rumor of some six sodas, and this is like one of those ones that I was saying again, where like
they're all
the
great.
waves of these sodas are like so good, and they're like this next like wave looks amazing. So in this one, we had rumored Doc Brown, which is sick that they're now doing this, which is going to
Yes.
be crazy. Back to the Future. So like now we're obviously going to get more of
Marty
those
McFly. Yeah.
characters. We got to get a Marty. Even if they stuck with just Doc Brown and Marty, I think would be okay. Like maybe we get more other ones, but like
It's
even just
funny.
making it like super limited to them with a sick chase, I think would be pretty
Before
sweet.
you run through the list of sodas, I like that you bring that up because I think they need to do more of that. Like for Back to the Future, that's all you need. You need Doc Brown, Marty McFly, call it a day. I wish they did
Yeah.
that more, like with the soda line. If Pops, I get why you want to make as many characters as
Mm-hmm.
possible, but they're clearly doing that same business model, which I get, the more the merrier. But with the sodas, which just makes it, in my opinion, just not as desirable to collect them all. Like I just want these two characters and like call it a day. I don't know if
Yeah.
you agree.
Which I mean, which the only thing that kind of makes me hopeful and like that they will do that is in the pops, that's kind of all they've done. In the pops, they
You're
only really
right.
have them too. Maybe they have different versions and stuff, but in soda, you don't really got to go crazy. You just make the one. But like that might be a
You're right.
good sign. So I'm hoping that they do. Then we also got some Batman and Joker, but we're gonna do the
Yes.
1966 versions, which is super cool because we obviously have a few different Batmans. We don't have like we have like the weird looking OG Batman. Then we have like the comic accurate like Batman Beyond. So it's interesting, but this would be like the first one that's like a big major Batman in soda
I've been
form.
waiting for this.
And then the Joker. With Joker, we already have the Heath Ledger, and then we also have the 1989 Jack Nicholson Joker. So now we're gonna get the 1966. So I can't wait to see what these look like because I think they're gonna lend awesome to
The
sodas.
soda.
Both of these, I think the colors and everything are gonna look amazing. So very excited for those. Being a fan of both of those characters. getting more sodas of them, I'm never going to complain about. And I like that they're doing a different version and going back, throwing it back to the 1966 version, which is going to be super cool. I can't wait to see what those look like. We also have a Gandalf, which that opens
I'm
now
pumped for
a
that.
whole nother world, right?
Yeah.
So now we're going to get more of these style, which I think would be sick. I'm interested to see what he's going to look like. And then like, we're going to get more now of
Yeah.
these.
Oh, we'll get every Hobbit,
We're
and
gonna get every single
they're like
Hobbit. Yeah.
awesome for soda, in
Frodo,
my opinion.
Bilbo, like we got to get all them. So it's interesting, like how they're gonna name this. Like, is it like a Lord of the Rings trilogy? Is it gonna be specific to a movie? Because when we talk about the cans are
Yeah.
interesting sometimes, where they're just more of a basic like character, the movie show, or sometimes they're very specific to a
It's
certain
totally, yeah.
one.
Because like I know I had told you this earlier, like during the week, but I finally got my Remy Ratatouille soda, and I was shocked to see it actually is like it's saying it's from the new ride that's in Walt Disney World. It
Yeah,
doesn't say it's from the
Ratatouille's
movie.
adventure.
It's just interesting that like that's what they decided to put on it. And I just like when you bring that up with the Lord of the Rings, like what are they like gonna say? Or will they maybe just make them from the the three Lord of the Rings and not touch the Hobbit or whatnot? But it's just
Yeah, I
interesting
feel
what
like it
they
would just be
decide
like the
to.
trilogy or
Yeah,
something like the name it. Kind of
it's
like,
interesting
which
what
I'm
they
assuming the
decide.
Star Wars ones are just going to say Star Wars.
I'm
Like,
agreeing
are they
with
going to
that.
say one of the episodes? Probably not. So I'm assuming that's probably what they do. But speaking of, we got 3 more Star Wars characters that are being announced. We got Leia, we got an Ewok, and we got Darth Maul. I think this is pretty cool. I mean, it's sick. They're definitely big ones, but I'm still shocked at that they're really going hard at the OG Star Wars and they still haven't announced a Mandalorian one. I'm kind of surprised because we both
Me
said
too.
we thought Mandalorian was gonna be like the first entrance into Star Wars, and it's not. Not that it's a bad thing, but it's not. They're going back to the OG characters, which I guess a lot of people kind of probably wanted that. So maybe that's a cool thing. But yeah, what do you think about that? I mean, these are obviously all great characters.
I mean,
I
I'm
think it's
pumped for
going
all
to
of them,
be an
but I
awesome line.
completely agree with you. I'm shocked you haven't gotten a Mandalorian one. Yeah, I mean, as a Star Wars fan, I think it's kind of cool they're going back to the OG ones. It's almost like, do they want to replicate in soda the original pops they made in pop, like in pop form?
Yeah, that first like
Yeah,
OG wave blue
but
box.
I mean, I'm as big a Star Wars fan as it gets. I want a Mandalorian one. I know we'll get one, but I do find
Yeah.
it weird they haven't announced it. And like they're mixing and matching, obviously, because Darth Maul's from the prequels. He is the first prequel soda we're going to be getting.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I mean they're awesome. And even though it seems like from in the rumors, it's kind of explaining the chases for these. The Ewok will be flocked, which is cool, which is kind
Yeah,
of
that makes sense.
expect. Darth Maul is just going to be glow. I think that's a missed
That
opportunity.
kind of make that
It
that that makes sense, but they
it
could have
makes
done.
sense, but they could have done better, in my
Yeah.
opinion, because for all of those who don't know, like Darth Maul comes back in the Clone Wars cartoon, and in the original, Phantom Menace, he gets chopped in half.
Yeah.
So he comes back, ultimately gets like robotic legs. All they had to do was put new legs on the bottom for a chase. I know I go off of my chases all the time, but it's like low hanging fruit, in my opinion, because I don't think we'll ultimately get another Darth Maul
No.
soda in that
Yeah, I
form.
don't think.
And weirdly enough, like that's the Darth Maul that like has resonated with so many people, even though he's badass in his OG form from the Phantom Menace. Like people love what his character became in the Clone Wars. So
Yeah.
I just think that's like a missed opportunity.
It just now kind of solidifies what we basically kind of thought when we first saw the Luke and the Boba, that they're gonna be pretty simple lazy
Yep.
chases. Like they're not gonna
I
do
agree.
anything different. Like they're really, now there's been enough of them announced or
They're
shown or
just
whatever
pumping them out.
that we're getting the idea that they're just gonna be a glow or they're just gonna be a simple difference. And like, granted, the Ewok being flocked makes sense,
It
which means
does.
now Chewie's probably gonna be flocked.
Fucked.
But like I said, that makes sense. Like I actually like that. But I'm sure they're gonna run with glow a lot. There's gonna be a lot with glow, especially if they have lightsabers. I'm sure that's kind of what they're going off of. But I
Are
think it's
you?
still cool. I mean, it's the first ones we're finally getting them, so we can't like complain too much because
Oh,
we've
I'm
been
not
wanting
complaining. I
them so
know.
bad.
I don't want to sound
But
that way.
yeah. No. And I just think that like that's just something that we're gonna always pick on, especially being big soda collectors. But I think just finally getting them is gonna be something cool, and them having their little stand and stuff. I just want to see them now, like
Do you
actually what
think
they
they're
look like.
coming out with too many too fast though, or like I either are
They
they
definitely
doing that?
are coming out with pretty fast.
And do you think that's just because we're gonna get so many? Like they're like we have never made Star Wars, just pump them out, or
Well,
like
I thought of that in the beginning when I was like, if they do, like when I remember talking about before we finally got the official word, I think it was last year when we were talking
yep,
about the wrap and what was going to happen for the new year that Star Wars should be coming for sodas. I remember thinking like, one, they need to do it. It's the same thing with like when we talk about like how Nintendo needs to be with Funko because
yep,
there's just such a big line, they can go crazy with it. That was the same thing I felt when it came to Star Wars and sodas, is that there's so many characters. And we even talked about it in our Star Wars episode that like they make random side characters that you only see in one,
yeah,
episode or scene or whatever. And we just knew they were going to do it. Now they're coming out with big hitters, like they're
they
they're
are.
they're giving us all the main people, but there's still so many more main people that haven't come out. So this line is going to be insane. I mean, we don't have a Han Solo yet. That's obviously a pretty
Yeah,
big character. We don't have Chewbacca yet.
no,
They're
we don't
probably going to
have
drop
like
together, I'm assuming.
C3PO,
We don't see 3PO, R2D2, which
R2D2.
totally
Yeah,
could be in soda. We don't have a Yoda yet.
no, and they
Like,
haven't even touched the sequel trilogy, which I know they will. So
yeah.
there's tons of characters
And
in that.
Mandalorian line.
Yep.
Like that's a whole nother line, but that line. But even if we're just sticking with the OG ones, there's still so many
Yeah.
more. And there's like they probably are gonna make all of them, I'm assuming, like the way it looks. And maybe because there's so many and they're so behind, because now finally we're getting Star Wars, is
Yeah.
why they're just ripping through them like a ton at a time. So it's exciting, but at the same time, like, yeah, like as a huge, I'm sure for you, for a hardcore like collector, like it's gonna be like, whoa, like can I keep up with all of these? I'm going to be able to
Exactly.
be a completionist when it comes to it, or are you going to have to pick and choose with certain ones or not? So it's gonna be interesting for me. Like it's kind of like a little easier, but even though like I'm like maybe I'll pick and choose, it's not like they're just coming out with random ones
They're
yet.
all
So there's
sweet
still like ones
characters.
that I'm like I gotta have that one or that one.
Yeah.
So and being a huge soda collector in general, so that was a huge wave, and that was a rumor that was very exciting for me for sure. Obviously as a soda collector, but what was anything else that kind of got you?
Another rumor that
Huge.
got me pretty pumped, which I mean, we knew this was coming, but for the Wakanda Forever line, said they're coming out with 10 pops, which is
That's
ridiculous.
a
But
huge wave. Yeah,
4
it's
keychains and
interesting.
one.
That's a very interesting one, especially that we're getting that rumor now because no one really knows anything about that movie,
Not
and
much.
it was obviously very delayed with a lot of issues and things that were going on. And of course, the passing of Chadwick Boseman kind of made people wonder, like, are they even going to do another one? They're not recasting him. Like, what's his storyline? Like, who's Black Panther? Like, a lot of
Yep.
rumors on what's happening, but they obviously are going to run with the fact that it's a major Marvel movie. They already made shitload of pops for the first
I
wave of
know.
movie when the movie came out. So makes sense, but I guess we'll see. I just think it's gonna be one of those ones that again with me, like I'm like, there's just way too many of this line. I'm not gonna go crazy about it unless there's like one or two that are like super core exclusive,
Yeah.
maybe.
It's
Um,
just like for
we'll see.
like I get the huge line for like Doctor Strange, for example. We
Mhm.
probably don't need 10 pops for Wakanda Forever. And I'm so excited for that movie. And Black Panther is one of my all-time favorite characters. And there probably will be another wave two of for the movie. It's just like
That would
I,
be crazy.
I mean, I'm like, once again, I'm excited for them because I know I'm gonna have to get some of them, but and then one's a pop ride deluxe, which is
Yeah.
also interesting. They don't make many Marvel, I guess there's not many opportunities for it, but like they don't make many like ride deluxe. And so it's interesting to me that this is something that's being
Yeah, like I wonder what
included.
it's even gonna be.
Yeah.
Like like to be in that movie, but I don't know. That was one that I saw and I was like, yeah, it makes sense. Like obviously we knew they were probably going to drop that. They're also going to be dropping some Flash movie pops,
Yep.
which we know that's another major, movie, and it's kind of like something that's going to be with a lot of different characters. Like, are we going to get a Keaton Batman, a new one for that
I think
movie? Are
that
we going
line's
to
going to be
get?
really interesting because of what's going on with Ezra Miller.
Well, that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
It's that like, well, I'm assuming a lot of stuff is already made.
Yeah.
I'm sure they can pull some of it. We already know that supposedly they're not looking to do anything further with him, I believe, right? As of right now, it's kind of
They're
like the
not.
word,
I think he's
but this was
done.
already filmed, I'm guessing. So like,
But here's the interesting thing, and not I know we're a collector podcast, but me and Migs are talking about moves in TV. So let us know if that's something you would be interested in. But just to go on it, because it's interesting, I would like to see what Funko decides to do. There's word on the street is like they've delayed this movie to be behind other movies that supposedly are now going to have to refilm scenes because they don't make sense because you need to see the Flash first because of what's
oh, that's weird.
happening. So like the first time you're supposed to see Michael Keaton is in the Flash, but now Batgirl's coming out before that because they're trying to bury this movie because of Ezra Miller. But it's a huge tentpole, and there are legit rumors and campaigns going on, and I think it could actually happen. There's all new leadership there that your boy Grant Gustin could actually become the new movie Flash because he's a major
Yeah,
character, and there's rumors like on the street is they may refilm some scenes because it is all about like their version of the multiverse that he becomes the new Flash because Ezra Miller is just a PR nightmare
yeah,
and he cannot be the flagship. He's not only he's one of the main characters of the Fantastic Beasts for Warner Brothers and now the Flash. It's terrible. So you're right. They probably made the pops, but I don't know what's going to happen with that line. It's
yeah. It's
interesting to
interesting.
me.
It is interesting to see what they're gonna do with it, and like what they do with that character. Because yeah, he's like a big. To me, he was almost like when Marvel passed the torch to like Tom Holland's Spider-Man
Yeah,
and Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange, like they're taking it over. Like we already know they're trying to eliminate a lot of, the Snyderverse, but like they kept him, which I thought was kind of weird. Like I felt like they should have just got rid of everyone at that point, but like they're
yeah.
using him now in this whole new thing to get rid of the old Batmans and Henry Cavill's Spider or Superman. So like, yeah, like now do they just get rid of him?
Which is funny.
But
He actually just won fan favorite scene in the Oscars, which actually
yeah,
people got to vote for.
two
Which
two Snyder movies did.
yeah,
That was clearly on purpose.
yeah. It's kind of funny though that like yeah, not to we don't obviously once again we're a
Yeah,
collector,
but
but
I
it's just
think
interesting to me.
back to the thing. I think what's cool is that it is an interesting character though, because the Flash is a character that can have multiple universes where they
Yep.
can kind of play it off that a different version in a different world or whatever they want to do is the one that we kind of use. And I've always said, and I've told you nonstop, that Grant Gustin I think was like amazing as Flash. I thought the show was really great. Then I thought the show eventually got a little too much, but I just loved him as the Flash. And yeah, Flash as a DC character is very famous. Like he's a big character.
Yeah,
He's
one
one
of
of
their
the
major
top
ones.
4 major ones, right? So like they need to figure this out because this kid Ezra was like way too much of a mess. And like I wonder if they like if they could potentially scrap the movie or if like they just have to reshoot everything
Well,
because
the
of
thing that
what he's
they've
involved.
even
So and
done,
he's also technically two
that's what I was
different
about to
Flash
say, which
in the
is
movie.
interesting
Same
for
actor.
Funkos as well. Yeah, like unlike Marvel, which what Marvel did once again, because Marvel is just superior, is when they made the different versions, the variants from different parts of the universes, they look different.
Mhm.
He's playing multiple versions of the Flash movie. I think that's was so dumb.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's gonna be a mess. And yeah, as far as Funko goes, I guess we'll see. First, I guess they're trying to figure out what's going on with this movie, I'm sure, before they even try
Yeah,
to put their
release
hand
them.
into like announcing anything or releasing anything. I did want to talk about this pop, which I thought was super exciting. I'm a big hip hop fan and a fan of that line and the rappers.
Yep.
Now we're getting a DMX pop, which I think is super cool because that's an OG one for sure. So I'm glad that they were able to get that license. That's a cool pop to have, and he's pretty unique looking one. So I think that'll be cool to add to the Rocks line. as far as like another rapper. We also had this. I actually wanted to touch on this. I completely almost forgot about this. This was one of the most shocking ones to me because absolutely love this movie. I think this is one of the greatest. It's not like in my top list, but it's in many people's top lists, especially it's one of those movies that like you just know it's considered to be one of the greatest because of what it did and its time and the makeup and everything that it did. But the American Werewolf in London
Yeah, that was
is
a
coming out
total.
with Pops is so cool. And like I said, that movie, if you guys have not watched it, the movie is so awesome. It's like an older movie. If you're into werewolf style like horror movies, like watch it. It's not like the scariest movie in the world. But the big deal about it was like just the makeup and like
Yep.
the transition of him becoming a werewolf. Like that was such a big deal back then. It's kind of like it's one of those movies that reminds me of like Jaws. Like Jaws, like you watch it now, you're kind of
I
like,
agree.
it's a little corny. That's so weird. But in its time, it was just such a big deal, and seeing like what they did with the
I agree.
animatronics or whatever. So like this was one of those, and I think it's an awesome movie. If you've never watched it, definitely check it out. But the fact that they're coming out with Pops, I think it's super cool. It's very interesting. I wonder what they're gonna look like. There's a chase version. I'm sure it's gonna be like him and him as a werewolf. So I'm excited to see this, and it looks like it's like a kind of fairly small line, which I'm totally cool with. But I like this because it just gives us hope that they can do this with some other maybe OG classic
Yeah,
movies
I
that
agree.
don't exist, and that we can get a couple versions of that Pop. I think will be kind of cool of that line. So very excited for that.
Yeah, another one too. There's a ton of rumors that I was really excited for is the tiny toy Funko Pop, which is from a Pixar short, one of the OG Pixar shorts ever made. They've made like mystery minis with Pixar shorts before, but they've
Yeah,
never made. And they made like this random line. They were actually Funko exclusives of like a few years ago. I don't even know what they actually were. They kind of looked like mystery minis, but they were in like one was in like a magician's hat for like the short with the magician and the rabbit, like for you guys are familiar with. Or the one with the little bird when he's like in the water, like it was in the seashell, like things like that, or like the dumpling one. Like they made a huge line, but I don't honestly, you guys know what they actually were called. I have some of them, but I don't know what the line
yeah, I
was.
don't know.
But they've never made Funko Pops, and Pixar shorts, in my opinion, are just as famous as like their feature length films. And I'm like super pumped that they're making a Funko Pop of this, which would lead me to believe that they'll make more pops from their short films.
Yeah, which would be kind of cool because they do have a lot
A
of
lot, yeah.
shorts, and they even have like a lot of major movies that they made short versions of, like Toy Story. They do like the
Exactly.
popcorn like one, so they do a lot of those different ones. So I think that'd be kind of cool if they go into that line, making it kind of unique. I think making them like maybe more limited or make more like a con thing. I think that would be kind of cool more than
I
just like
agree.
a major line, maybe. But it's definitely something that for sure would be pretty cool. But um I think that's probably like the biggest
Those
major.
are the
Anything
big
else that kind
ones.
of yeah, there was a ton.
Yeah,
There's
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 a
even some
ton.
more
There's
like
a
we'll
ton
spill
of
into.
anime, which I don't want to not like
Yeah,
bring
yeah,
up, but we're not familiar enough with anime to
yeah, I
go
know there's a
on. But
lot of other ones that are coming out. Like if you guys are anime fans, like sorry, like we kind of just more like things that really got us excited, but there's a ton of rumors and stuff, and every week there's gonna be more. So if we come up with more, we'll kind of compile some other stuff. That's for sure. But you guys can let us know some of your favorites. I mean, we went in depth pretty much with everything. I know right off the bat we started off with pretty much our biggest favorites. Like I said, the Michael Jackson one was
yep.
probably one of my biggest, and I know the Endgame poster was probably yours. So that's going to be our rumors, but we want to make sure that like you guys definitely chime in, let us know out of some of these that we announced, like what are you guys super excited for, or like what can't you wait and hope that it comes out, or if there's something that you've heard that you also are excited about, feel free to comment down below as well, like usual. But yeah, that's going to be our section for today.